Hey everyone, I'm Danette DeBolt from Humans Honoring Horses, and I'm here today to talk to you about position, specifically rider biomechanics and specifically our elbows. I'm sure you've heard and seen what the biomechanical ideal looks like, and that is shoulders, elbows, hips, and heels in alignment, right? So sometimes though, when we are like this, and we get on a horse, we can get stiff and rigid because we're trying really hard to stay in this position. Stiffness and rigidity in the rider transfers directly into the horse, right? So the horse can respond by being sort of stiff and resistant in the head and neck. It can be transferred through to their body. They can just generally sometimes lose relaxation. They'll speed up, or they can even get as far as like head tossing, especially if we have like an inconsistent hand, okay? So a consistent following hand is a kinder hand than an on and off hand. You should have the feel when you're riding that you have the sensation of like pushing a wheelbarrow or holding a child's hand, okay? And now that's easier said than done, but now that's why we're here today. So if you've been riding for any length of time or had any sort of formal riding lesson for that matter, odds are your instructor has said something like bend your elbows, bring your elbows back, allow, elastic elbows, follow with your hand, something like that. So all of these directives are all about having a nice forgiving elbow. And what happens is a lot of riders do everything else but use their elbow. So we have broken wrists and piano hands is probably the two most obvious biomechanical errors that come up. But today I'm going to show you how to fix that. So I got my buddy Jimmy Dean here, and we're going to take that discussion about position right up into the saddle. So when you're sitting on your horse, the ideal is shoulders, elbows, hips, and heels in alignment, okay? Before you start to ride, what I want you to do is to take a moment and bring your awareness to your elbows before you step off or do anything. So if your horse will stand nice and quiet, you can do both elbows at the same time. If not, definitely keep your hands on the reins and just do one elbow at a time, okay? So what I want you to do, first of all, is we're gonna bring awareness to our elbows. So we're gonna close our hands as if we were holding a rein, and we're just simply gonna straighten our arm. And we're gonna bring it back up, and we're gonna straighten our arm, and we're gonna bring it back up. And you should do that probably 3 to 5 times, okay? So straighten your arm. And when you straighten your arm, you should feel your tricep engaged. Next, I want you to bring your elbow to your hip and I want you to point to the horse's ears. So if you're both hands, it's kind of going to look like you're shooting your horses in the ear. And then I want you to go from the ear to the bit. So this position right here, there should be a straight line from my elbow down through, pointing to where my horse's head and mouth is, or where the bit is. So this is the biomechanical ideal. We are in a position where we're connected to the horse's back. We're in a strong position, a position where we can be balanced and in control of our body. And then that allows us, our hands, to do whatever we want, right? Okay, so now let's put it all together. You're gonna go fist, make a fist, fists down to the ground. Point to the ground, point to your heels, sitting up nice and tall. Interesting, just there I even felt myself sort of like holding and hesitating. Now I'm actually sitting and relaxed. So some stuff let go there just by doing this. Okay, so now to the ground, to the bit, to the ears, to the ears, to the bit, to the ground, right? Feel that tricep muscle engage? Yeah, that's exactly what we want, okay? So we're gonna do this 3 times. We're gonna go, oh, do you have flies, bud? Okay, ground, bit, ears, bit, ground, bit, ears, bit, ground, right? Okay, elbows, triceps. We need to bring awareness to those muscles. Often when we ride and when we get out of positional shape, or when things start to go wrong in our upper bodies, what happens is our hands turn over like this, or we start having what we call broken wrists. Broken wrists are often an indicator that your reins are too long and you're trying to sort of manage it without shortening or without making a change, right? But what that does is it puts us into our forearm, into our pec, and we get all the wrong muscles working, okay? So we want to have a feel on the mouth, right? And I can't really, I guess I can demonstrate it here. If we were moving, like our hands should be in front of the wither, and then if he was moving right now, his head would be going up and down, and my objective would be to be following that feel with my hand. Okay, so I'm gonna just take a feel both corners of the horse's mouth here, and I'm gonna ask him to walk off. When we walk off on a horse, or when we ride from leg to hand. So we create the energy with our leg, and then we direct it and I guess channel it with our hands, okay? So let's just see what Jimmy gives me here. Yep, come on buddy, let's go. Exhale, good. So this is a really comfortable position right now. My elbows, I'm thinking about keeping my elbows loose and following the motion of the head and neck to maintain the connection and the feel. So when instructors talk about elastic elbows, that's what they're referring to, that there is this connection, like our elbows or our rein and our forearm are essentially one unit, and they're following the motion of the horse's head. And every horse will be different. Some horses really move their head up and down, some horses not so much, right? And so that's the difference in the horses and a different feel. Okay. So that's what our instructors want, right? And it's always best to start off in walk, right? Because the walk has a nice slow gait. You can follow the step, you can follow the head and neck. So now, we've done the awareness. We've woken our elbows up. Now what you're gonna do is flip your reins upside down. So, this is called, I believe, a driving rein. I've heard it called a bunch of different things. But what it does is when we turn our reins upside down right now, it takes the tension out of our forearms and makes us ride and move our elbows even more. So what we want to do is we want to make sure our hands are closed on the reins, and we're simply just going to do the exact same thing. And it's probably going to feel a little bit weird because now you're waking up muscles that probably weren't active before. Right? But that's what we're here to do. We're here to create the connection and have a nice following hand. Okay, Jimmy Dean, let's go for a walk. Come on, sir. The really cool thing about this technique is I've never had a horse object to it. Every horse that I have used this technique on has just gone, oh, wow, that feels so good. Yeah, good. So I'm just letting him take my hand, right? Following the mouth, following the head and neck. Ask him to turn here, so I'm going to open my rein. Yeah, good. And it is a nice, soft connection. Could even go a little shorter. Lots of movement in my elbow. That's the goal of this exercise, right? Following hand, Wake those elbows and triceps up. Okay, so if you're serious about changing your habits with your elbows and really getting out there and impressing your instructor the next time you ride, you're going to understand the theory, right? You understand the biomechanical ideal. Then you're going to put it or bring your awareness to your elbows. Then you're going to put it into practice and create that feel with this technique. And then lastly, consistency. Okay, so consistency and focusing on one thing is how we get better. So if you're serious about creating a better connection and having better hands, better elbows, I would practice this at least 15 minutes every ride. Do it in walk, and then when you feel comfortable, do it in trot, right? Practice your halt transitions. Practice your downward transitions, your upward transitions, right? You're going to see such an amazing improvement in your horse, more relaxation, and as well as in your ride, right? Yeah, good boy. Excellent. Okay, so that's the practice. That's your homework. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoy this little tip. And riding is so much better when we have happy, relaxed horses.